Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. Hi, Jeff.
Oh, hello. For the last time of 2025, thank God.
Indeed, get the celebration going. We've got our we're gonna do our best of 2025 coming up after we cover our two new movies this week to get those two new movies basically out of the way.
Here's to get them out of the way.
That's basically what they're doing, because I don't think either of these movies are on our final best of the year list, are they?
One's an honorable mention.
At the very least, there's that. But I didn't. Yeah, I knew neither of them were going to be on my final list. So, don't really have any news. Have you heard anything lately?
Well, Bridget Bardot died finally.
Oh yeah, finally.
Yeah,
Why would you say it like that?
Oh, she was a raging homophobe, racist.
Oh.
She was arrested several times in France for inciting racism, and they do not have the First Amendment over there. Oh yeah, she was notoriously racist, Islamophobic, homophobic. She disowned her son and said that he was like a cancer, and she had aborted him and all this stuff. She's a horrible, horrible person. But She loved animals.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Google her. It is just not mind-blowing. So yeah, rest in peace. I mean, she was pretty. She was pretty, and she loved animals, I guess. So
no, she can say hi to Anita Bryant in hell.
Oh, it makes me wish I believed in hell.
Right? I tell you what, why don't we start off the show by announcing our top 5 worst of the year? We'll just get the worst out of the way first. That'll count as our news.
Yeah, we can do that. All right.
So for my number 5 worst of the year, I went with The Friend. This is the Naomi Watts, Bill Murray dog movie. It's just entirely, completely unwatchable. It is one of the most shockingly terrible films I think I've ever seen, starring major actors. And saying something, it's only my 5th worst this year. So,
you know what? My 5th is Him, because it was such a disappointment.
I would have that in my top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer was amazing and looked so good, and it was just like an episode of, I don't know, the latter X-Files.
Yeah, and so much, and it had so much promise, and it had such a great look and a potential idea for it to come up so short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just really just terrible.
My number 4 worst of the year is Kind of Pregnant, starring not Amy Poehler. It's, what's her name?
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer, that's it. Wow, that was weird. Amy Schumer. I like Amy Schumer. I don't put her on worst of lists as a meme, because I pretty much enjoyed just about everything I've seen of her until now. Kind of Pregnant is intensely obnoxious. It was a Netflix original, didn't play in theaters. I took a flyer on it because, again, I like her, and we don't tend to cover Netflix movies unless they're absolutely huge. And I don't even think we bothered to try and cover that one, but I covered it for myself, and I couldn't believe how bad it was. Just one of the most obnoxious things I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, so
count yourself lucky.
I can't speak to it. My number 4 is, I go back and forth a little bit. I'm going to say After the Hunt is number 4, because it was also a disappointment. Most of mine are pretty disappointing movies and stuff I was really looking forward to. That one was just that it was an apology for, it was an anti-Me Too kind of thing. It was an apology for sexual abuse, and, having Julia Roberts have to justify what Andrew Garfield did to make herself feel better because it was her friend. It was very shades of like Diane Keaton and Woody Allen,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my number 4.
Good choice. And Nelly, I think we'd be in an agreement on a lot of these if I hadn't seen so many more movies.
Right. Well, yeah.
So I don't think you saw that. You didn't have to see The Friend either, did you?
I did see The Friend. We talked about it
Oh,
on the
did you?
show.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show. It was
But
bad, but it wasn't.
I've seen several other movies that I think are worse that you haven't seen. My next one, I don't think most people have seen, Fountain of Youth, which is John Krasinski and Natalie Portman. It was an Apple original film, and I mean, what a god awful piece of shit. So much money was spent, so much great talent was wasted, and that's really what comes of this: is that they spent a great deal of money on this, told no one that they released it, which maybe that's a good thing since it's so terrible. But then just to waste this much talent and resource on something blows my mind. It's probably around 125 million, something like that they wasted on this movie. That they didn't bother to promote even having. It's just ridiculous what Apple does. The pyramid scheme that they've got going, whatever it is, whatever the scam that is Apple TV, I'd love to figure it out. How they can piss away this kind of money. It just kind of blows my mind. But that's my number 3. I think it's just a piece of garbage.
My number 3 is Tron Ares because Tron fucking sucks. I don't like the franchise at all. After watching them all for the show, I decided I really don't like Tron at all. This was a slog to sit through. Jared fucking Leto has to be in everything and ruin everything. I sat there staring at the screen going, you know how much I fucking hate this movie? Not as almost as well. I'm gonna before we get to number 1, I'm gonna give you some of my honorable mentions. But
Sure.
there were only 2 movies that I just fucking hated more than this movie. And I don't get the nostalgia for Tron. The first one was not good. The Legacy one was stupid. This one was just pointless and stupid. So
yeah, it just felt like they didn't really have any good ideas for this one.
Yeah.
starting with the casting of Jared Leto.
Oh God. And he's just the worst.
I got to tie number 2. I could not pick between these two because they're so bad. And my number 1 is so bad. War of the Worlds from Amazon and another and another Amazon, You're Cordially Invited with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon. Again, just talk about a waste of talent and money. That movie is an obnoxiously unfunny comedy. War of the Worlds, everybody knows what happened there. Ice Cube made that during the pandemic. It's just him in a room, on a computer, and wow, they had just a 90-minute ad for Amazon deliveries. It's truly a bizarre film. The fact that exists at all almost made me appreciate it. Just how empty it truly is. But yeah, I can't believe it. I after I saw that, well, I won't see anything worse than that this year.
Oh boy.
Then I remembered what I saw earlier this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back and forth, so I'll call it a tie for my number 2. Between Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and The Strangers Chapter 2.
Good choices.
2 movies that fucking sucked so badly. The Strangers was like it is the pointless sequel to a pointless remake that was somehow worse than the sequel that I hated when it came out, that I would watch 100 times before I ever watched either of the new ones again by choice. Just interminably dull and boring, and the acting was not good. Nothing was good. Five Nights at Freddy's, I don't get apparently I'm a boomer and I don't get the game. And because I didn't play the game for 10 years, I don't get the sequel. So I guess it's big boomer energy for me, even though I'm Gen X, that I really, really hated Five Nights at Freddy's. And I went to that was less than an hour and a half, and I went to the bathroom twice just to get up and
yeah. We're on the same page with that one. I hated that movie too.
Yeah.
But I've just got so many more movies that I truly hate. Like just my honorable mentions before I mention number one, Splitsville with Dakota Johnson. The two male leads in that movie are guys I don't feel like I've ever heard of before, and I just found their performances to be completely terrible. She's always good. Like she seems to be trying to elevate this. This movie, however, is nominated for Best Comedy at the Critics' Choice Awards, which just blew my mind when I saw that on our nomination list. I'm like, really? Are we this bereft of great comedy? Yes, apparently we are, because three of the other movies were pretty bad too. And The Cut, which is another movie that only I saw, called The Cut. Orlando Bloom plays a boxer, and it's just this art movie. It's a boxing art movie, and it's, oh my God, just so bad, just so very, very bad in so many different ways. But by now, I think everybody should have guessed. If you recall what we talked about this summer, what my number one is of course it has to be the movie that I think I spoke most eloquently with hatred of this year. That is the Karate Kid Legends.
Oh,
I was a big fan as a kid of Karate Kid. I liked those movies. I sat down to watch this one, and I just could not think of a worse experience that I've had at the movies in a long, long time. Um, it is just so terrible to take something that just to not try to the level of that they did not try in Karate Kid Legends blows my mind. I understand that this is a thing where you got this very well-known property that you really don't have to put much work into to sell to people because it's so beloved, but like to put in this level of lack of caring, this sitcom fucking script that they used for this bullshit, and just the level of just not giving a damn from people who really should care about this. And Ralph Macchio, I thought he should at least give a damn about this. The kid who started it, this is his big break. He should care. But most of all, just the direction. Maybe they did care, and the director is just that bad. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But what the final product speaks for itself. It's the worst thing of 2025, and I mean, to be worse than Kind of Pregnant, The Friend, Fountain of Youth, and even fucking War of the Worlds with Ice Cube, I must feel very, very passionately about how bad this is.
Well, I did not see that, luckily, so I can't say one way or the other. Before I get to my worst, a few of my honorable mentions for the worst are The Roses.
Good choice.
Just, such a horrible remake, such a pointless remake of The War of the Roses. Wolfman had so much promise for me, but it didn't really do anything for the lore of the Wolfman. It was just basically an abusive virus, like the virus passed on from father to son about abuse and whatever, and not done very elegantly. Friendship.
Yeah.
Really, really not a fan of Tim Robinson's comedy, if this is what it is. I just, it just landed flat, and it was one of those cringe movies that we talked about how cringe comedy hasn't been really done well since The Office. And because The Office is still like on everybody's lips all the time, the fact that somebody else is trying to do cringe comedy, it pales in comparison. Avatar, which we talked about last week, and it's just the worst. I don't like the franchise. I hope I never, I hope James Cameron comes to his senses and just makes something different and better. But my number one worst movie, the most disappointing movie that I saw all year, that I was so looking forward to, is Hurry Up Tomorrow with The Weeknd.
Yeah, that was on my list too. It was probably my number 6. I should have mentioned that in my my runners up.
Well, based on the work that Trey Edward Schultz has done in the past, and how much I like The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega, this was like a music video made by someone on ketamine. It was so bad, and it it just it was a 3-minute movie music video would have been much better.
Absolutely.
This just it sucked so bad. It made me not really like to listen to The Weeknd for several months.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna Ortega was completely wasted. It made no sense what she was doing throughout the entire movie. Even if she was a stalker, there was no indication that she was until the last 20 minutes of the movie, and it wasn't even that long of a movie. So, just really super disappointing, and my pick for the worst of the year.
Yeah, it's so disappointing because like you said, like Trey Edward Schultz is a hell of a director. I mean, everything he's done until this movie was absolutely fucking brilliant. Like on that level of like being like an Ari Aster type, and then I mean, at the very least, I got to give him that he took a big swing. At the very least, he missed badly. He missed all the
Yeah.
way, but it is a big swing, and I think that makes me not hate it as much as you do. But it would be on my top 10 worst of the year, probably.
Yeah. So let's talk about some new movies.
Yes, let's talk about new movies. What do we have this week? Of course, we've got one of the big Oscar contenders did incredibly well at the box office this weekend, which a lot of people, I guess, weren't predicting it would do so well. But Timothee Chalamet's put a lot of work into it. Of course, I'm talking about Marty Supreme, in which he plays Marty, a character who is a ping pong superstar in the 1950s or 60s. He's just the greatest ping pong player in the world, but he's also like a bit of a con artist and a wise guy. And the movie just follows him through his various schemes of getting himself big hotels and getting himself around the world, just based on his motor mouth. The big story going into this is that Timothée Chalamet has been practicing playing ping pong for the past few years while making other movies, just so he could be ready to play this role. And all I can say to that is just you put all of that work into ping pong. It's fucking ping pong, man. Like, like I don't know. It's the sport Forrest Gump was in. Like, are you sure this is what we're doing? Throughout this movie, I think Chalamet's incredibly talented. I think Dune and Dune Part 2 are just incredible films. I've really liked a lot of the things that he's done, but I did not understand this movie, his performance. I found the film endlessly obnoxious in terms of his performance as well as the direction. It's the same kind of direction that Safdie brought to Uncut Gems, which he did with his brother, and it really worked there. But it felt like it was dancing on the edge the entire time. It could tip over into parody or something truly bad at any moment, and they pulled that off, and it was like a great magic trick watching them pull that one off because it didn't look like they were going to at times. And I think there's a similar energy to this where they're taking a big swing. They're trying something big. I mean, it's just the one brother, not them, but Safdie's trying something big and going for something, and I just think he just missed it. Like I think on many technical levels, this is certainly a solid film. This is far from being a bad movie in my estimation, but I just did not. I found Chalamet's performance so obnoxious, I could not stand it. I wanted to just walk away from it. I wanted to just shut it off and walk away because it's just I could not stand him. And I understand that not every movie character needs to be likable. I get that. I don't feel that every movie character needs to be likable, but the way that they're weighting this character, I mean, he's the main character. There should be something about him that I'm interested in, and I frankly don't find, I frankly just didn't find anything about him to be that interesting. He plays ping pong, for fuck's sake. Like, I can't invest in this. And the idea that a woman is attractive and with so much as Gwyneth Paltrow's character would willingly go to this kid for an affair, and just because he's just so bold as to call her, that just felt dirty to me. It felt like we're just kind of like her character doesn't have any purpose. It felt like she's just gonna jump on any train that she can because she's just that bored. And if that's the motivation of the character, it's not very interesting. I didn't see anything about him that a woman of her, money and status would find attractive. And that just kind of blew my mind that that's where that went. And just the way he treats the true female love interest of the movie, the married woman that he's sleeping with, he just treats her like crap, and she just remains incredibly loyal to him for reasons that make sense to the movie, I guess, but not so much to me.
Yeah. I had to literally. I didn't have to pee all that bad, but I went to the bathroom twice because it was just such an assault on my senses.
Mm-hmm.
Not every movie needs to be directed like Uncut Gems. You know what I'm saying? I just
Yeah.
One thing I want to get out of the way, the scene where Gwyneth Paltrow is putting her clothes on after they, hooked up. This is like her Great Expectations era of her 50s where she's never looked better. Like that, she just looks amazing. Okay, now that out of the way, why the fuck would she be with this guy? Like, he's so unattractive in every way. I get that Timothee Chalamet is, I guess, dreamy or whatever, and he was very beautiful in Call Me by Your Name, but I've never seen him be that way again, and I don't understand why Gwyneth Paltrow of all people would be falling all over him, giving him, a $25,000 necklace or whatever. It's baffling. Yeah, I felt like I was assaulted the whole time because the frenetic energy of the camera work, the wasting Fran Drescher and Sandra Bernhard in the same movie. Come on. Too many characters for my liking that were just there to create a frenzy around something. The mobster and his dog and why? It didn't really do anything ultimately to advance the story. It was just so much. I think Timothee Chalamet is a talented actor, but like you said, he was so obnoxious in this. I got lost thinking about how much I just couldn't stand him. It was just so much. And if it was a story about ping pong, and which is what that was billed to be, was a story about him and the championships of ping pong or whatever, great. I would actually have preferred that as opposed to literally everything is happening to him and he's always running somewhere, and the guy never takes a second to think about what he's doing. He just does it. And I know that there are people out there like that. I have dealt with people like that, and it's exhausting in real life, and it was exhausting to watch. I don't know. I couldn't. I know it was Oscar bait, and I as knowing that going in, I was like, okay, I knew kind of what to expect, but I don't understand the love that it's getting. I know that it's, they're the Safdie brothers with Uncut Gems were, oh my God, so it's innovative, and look, they made Adam Sandler into such a good actor. I'm like, he's been good before. It didn't take, frenetic energy to do that. Like I not that I think they ever would, but if Josh Safdie made like a Howard's End or something, some sort of period drama like that, I would be impressed. But this is it's the same, it's kind of the same energy, and I'm just like, I can't take that energy for 2.5 fucking hours.
I'm wondering if like people were just so pummeled by this movie while they were watching it that they were glad it was over, and that made them think they liked it.
Maybe I don't. I mean, I
I'm
get it.
joking.
I know
I
what you
get,
mean.
yeah, I get
I get
the
that it was like
go ahead.
Oscar bait, and Timothee Chalamet, he's like one of the best actors around. I don't see it in this movie. I just see him just being super obnoxious and loud, and that was not what I was looking for. So
This could be also a case of the thing I've talked about a lot on the show, which is the most acting. He's doing the most
mm-hmm.
acting. You can see his work on the screen, and
Yeah,
like when I was talking about my favorite actors this year, like I don't think that Michael B. Jordan is doing the most acting in Sinners. He's just being both of those characters and embodying both of those characters. Yeah, similarly, like John Leguizamo in Bob Trevino is like it's just so incredibly understated, but it's so raw and beautiful and authentic that you lose the fact that he's even acting because it's just you're just looking at another human being who's communicating with you.
yeah.
Um, but so many people are so obsessed with actually like acting that they can quantify and say, aha, see, acting. And it's like that works for you, sure. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really do much for me when someone is doing the most acting. Um, Chalamet has got this weird. It's like this weird cycle where like he reminds me of Leo DiCaprio in his scrawny days, the Titanic days, where like you're just going like, I could beat the shit out of that guy. What has anybody seen him? Like he's he's got these thin pipe cleaner arms and like you can see his like rib cage through his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just so scrawny, and it's like Chalamet's very similar um, in terms of build, and it's just like you're kind of going. I mean, I don't know. If you're not into muscles, cool. That's yeah, great. It's what is it about this guy though? This Marty character that you see that is so attractive because he's just obnoxious. It just this guy would drive you insane if you were with him in a room. He just would not stop talking and trying to take something from you.
Yeah, exactly. And I know people who are taken in by that kind of guy, but I'm not one of them, and I think maybe that's why I just found him like so obnoxious. I had to get up and rock around a couple times because it's just like he's an exhausting character, and I get it if that's what they're going for. But let me tell you right now, if he was a real life person, no. So
Most people would fucking hate him.
yeah.
Yes, like I said though, I don't think this is bad. This is not a bad movie. It's technically accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
The look is great. The editing is superb. If you like that frenetic sort of style, but I just want a movie that I can connect to on an emotional level, and I did not connect to this.
Yeah. Same.
Speaking of movies I didn't connect with, Anaconda stars Paul Rudd and Jack Black and Thandiwe Newton and Steve Zahn as childhood friends who one of them claims to have the rights to make a remake of Anaconda and convinces his other three friends to go with them to the Amazon to actually make an Anaconda remake on a very, 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 very small budget. Jack Black is a director, screenwriter. His buddy is Paul Rudd, who is an actor who moved to Hollywood but hasn't had the success that he'd hoped for. Then they convince their friends that we made movies as kids, we can make a movie now, and they try and go back and go back to go. They do go and get a snake and a boat, and they try and make this happen. This movie feels just so strange at times because for some reason they thought it would be a great idea if Jack Black wasn't the wacky out there driver of the plot and was instead the guy who goes, I got responsibilities at home. I don't know if I can go to the Amazon and make an Anaconda remake. And it's like, you're Jack Black, man. What the hell's going on here? And then you've got Paul Rudd's character, who is kind of trying to fill in the energy of the Jack Black character. And that's just not what he should be there for, because he's the guy we should be able to relate to. He's Paul Rudd. He has that everyman quality that, people tend to relate to. I didn't understand the character dynamic. I also didn't understand if they wanted us to laugh and be scared, or laugh or be scared, because I wasn't laughing and I wasn't scared. I was just kind of bored watching this unfold. They just did not. Horror comedy is a tricky tone. It takes a lot of hard work to nail that, to get that right. And this movie did not get tone at all. At all. I mean, I can't even tell you honestly if they have a high opinion of Anaconda or if they hate Anaconda. I guess they must have a high opinion of it because Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez both drop in for shitty cameos. Just stop in to get their asses kissed for a very shitty movie, Anaconda. I don't get it. I don't get what anyone was going for here. I think they had an idea, and I think that was all that they had was an idea.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see this, so whatever you said. Ditto. Look, it was the
Okay.
holidays. It was the holidays. I could see two movies and I saw two movies.
What's the
Yeah,
other one you
I
saw?
don't
Because I've totally forgotten anything else.
Songs on Blue.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Oh, okay.
It's sad because it's not a bad movie. Song Sung Blue is Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, and this real life story of a real life Neil Diamond tribute band. They would prefer not to be called a tribute band, but nevertheless, Hugh Jackman has been in the business for a while doing other impressions and gets talked into finally doing Neil Diamond. And when he does, he really finds something special. He finds Kate Hudson, they fall in love and get married, and their band is pretty successful across the state of Wisconsin. And they get so much buzz. In fact, they even get to open for Pearl Jam one night because Eddie Vedder is a big Neil Diamond fan and even comes out and performed with him. And all of that actually happened. It was picked up in a documentary in 2010 of the same title, Song Sung Blue. And then there's a couple of tragedies in this movie that really give this movie a lot more depth than you would expect, because on the surface, when you hear Neil Diamond tribute band, and I'm saying something like, "Oh, they're very successful in Wisconsin," it sounds like I'm demeaning them. Like,
Damning
honestly,
the faint praise much?
yeah, which I'm not, because like the twin tragedies in this movie actually do really make this movie much more dramatic and much more moving and involving. The first one that I will mention, and maybe I won't mention the other one, but it did really happen, so you can look it up if you want. But Kate Hudson's character gets hit by a car and loses a leg right at the time that they're about to, perhaps make a jump to touring nationally with their act because they're so big, and that puts them off for a while. And Kate Hudson is phenomenal. We keep forgetting about her. Directors keep forgetting about her. She has so much depth and so much talent, and she can just bring so much to a character. It blows my mind that more movies have not taken advantage of how great she is. And this is the best Hugh Jackman performance I think I've seen in quite some time. I have a hard time with a lot of Hugh Jackman movies because I think he kind of gets a little bit samey. I think he really needs a strong-handed director to bring the best out of him. And Craig Brewer is that. Craig Brewer is a strong-handed director who can get the emotion and the action that he wants out of an actor, and he gets it out of Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, the performances in this, like all around, were just really, really good. Um, I I found myself at times like really emotional in this movie just because it's the story of underdogs and chasing your dreams and getting to like make them come true. Um, just Kate Hudson, she was so good in this. Like that, when I mean it's in the trailer, so when she gets hit by the car in front of her house, I was just like, it's so shocking. But like there's another thing in a bathroom later that happens that literally the entire theater just gasped so loudly that just um and I like just I get excuse me, I don't know quite how to say. I just literally just watched this
Uh-huh.
today and kind of sitting with it for a little while. I almost want to move it to my top 10 but I know that's recency bias. Um, but her performance, and Hugh Jackman too, don't get me wrong, but I think she is really the star. Um, that, the whole last act of the movie, she has this like resilience that comes out
Hmm.
and kind of brings everybody together under, the same umbrella. And when she sings at the end, I was like a little emotional. It was very, I you kind of saw her emotion in her eyes as she's singing this beautiful song, like all the tragedy and stuff that has happened to her in the movie. Um, the highs and the lows all kind of came out in that song. Not one that I was familiar with either.
Hmm.
Um, and how she's the strength for everybody when everybody was had to be the strength for her after her accident. Um, she just played that so well and so like not maudlin. Um, and I makes me want to see everything she's done again. Makes me want to watch The Skeleton Key, which I also thought she was really, really good in.
Hmm.
Um, I think she should. I don't know if she at least nominated for some awards for it, but
I could see that.
she really
I could see that.
she really brought the whole like she lit up the screen every time she was on it, and I think that is really hard to do nowadays unless you're you know Lawrence Pugh or Mia Goth or you know. um, but the fact I don't think she's given enough credit for what she can do because she's seen mostly as a romantic comedy person. And yes,
Right.
this is a romantic dramedy. Um, but she comes. I've known this woman, like I know this kind of brassy, been put through the ringers kind of lady, and she really brought that out. So,
Amen. Yeah, and she really did. She's incredible in this movie, and I also I gotta point out that just from the perspective of my description, like there's such a tricky tone to this because it could be so easy to draw easy laughs on these characters
mhm.
against these characters, like the idea that their big dream is to be somebody else, and they're so successful in Wisconsin. To try and make that into something that people can take seriously is not easy, and Craig Brewer deserves a lot of credit for getting us past any ironic distance we might put between the movie and ourselves.
I really thought this was going to be played as kind of a look at these losers kind of movie,
Yeah, yeah,
because at the beginning, uh, Mike is really kind of a loser, and you kind of just look at him and go, "Oh God, dude, you've known this guy 100 times, and you know that he's just kind of a sad sack, and he's got a dream, but he doesn't know how to realize it." And when they meet up and the dream kind of comes together, just spontaneously, it's so good, and they're so good in that scene where they're singing together
uh-huh,
for the first time. Just really, really, it's special. Their chemistry is so good that it makes the whole thing work as a kind of an inspirational story as opposed to a look at these losers, let's laugh at them.
yeah.
So,
And especially with those costumes, it's
oh,
such an invitation to laugh at those costumes. But they commit so deeply to it, and they care so
mhm,
much about it, and the work that they put into it, that you can't laugh at them. It doesn't feel
mhm,
right to laugh at them, and that's really just a strong achievement on everybody's part to make this movie that good.
yeah. And I also like the performances by the kids, by
Yeah,
their blended family. I just it's so touching to see without having to say, "Oh, like I'm so glad that you're my bonus daughter," or whatever. It's they just make it like natural, and not a lot of like Sturm and Drang that happens when, two parents get married and their kids have to be friends or be brothers and sisters and whatever.
Uh-huh.
I especially liked the performance of Ella Anderson. She was just beautiful and everything she was doing when she says she's pregnant and he's like, what? And she like opens her coat. She's like, look at me. Do you think I just packed on some weight? um yeah, Hudson Hensley as Dana, Claire's son.
Uh-huh.
Just he's just so like refreshing, and you get the distinct impression that because Claire was a single mom and he had to grow up really fast, and he goes up to her at one point and says, you look really beautiful, I hope you're doing okay. And yeah, he's just so like natural.
Yeah,
So
he had one of the moments that really got me, which is him watching a tape of Mike late
yeah.
in the movie. That was really emotional.
Mm-hmm. When he says hi,
Yeah,
Mike. Yeah.
it's a great movie. It's a great movie. People should go see it. Nobody did over the weekend, of course, because
Yeah.
as you'll find out when we run through our top 10 best of the year, no one went to see any good movies this year.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I've got two. I've got two blockbusters, I would say, on my list. That's it. The rest are either movies that are considered underperforming or total bombs. And that just kind of blows my mind even thinking that. But that's the way it went down. So, Jeff, would you like to get to our top tens tonight by starting with your honorable mentions?
Yeah, my honorable mentions are kind of, I don't know, kind of silly, but like Rule Breakers. Do you remember that movie?
Mm.
The girls in Afghanistan who get to go to the robotics championship.
Yeah, it sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I really liked that. I thought that was a good movie, and um, Phoebe Waller-Bridge was in it. And
Hmm.
she was kind of a standout in that. Um, these two movies, one of them was surprising because I didn't know what to expect whatsoever because I went into it blind, which was Dangerous Animals. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I remember talking about it, how I could not even remotely picture Jai Courtney until about like 2 days after, when I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta like look up the movie and do a little bit of research for it for the show. And I was like, wait, that was Jai Courtney? Holy shit. And one of my other honorable mentions is Good Boy, for purely
Oh yeah.
technical reasons, because
Hmm.
I loved that, I love the little featurette after, how they built all this tension with like faking the lighting and giving the dog commands and all that. And another one is, I God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I Know What You Did Last Summer. For the simple fact, okay, I'm gonna what like made me love this movie so much was the mid credit scene.
Hmm.
The fact that they did callbacks to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer with Brandy, and then she gets together with Jennifer Love Hewitt. And I was into the movie. I was having fun. I thought it was well done. Um, but the fact that they brought it back around, and the next movie could be like a Scream 5 with Gail and Sydney, where they could bring these two together to like fight a killer or something. That kind of escalated it for me. Um, and then I one of the a movie that we just talked about kind of pushed Good Boy off my top 10, and I think it's recency bias, but that's why Good Boy is not in my top 10 actually. So
All right then. My honorable mentions include Nouvelle Vague, Richard Linklater's movie about Jean-Luc Godard. Really, really loved it. Really had a great time watching it. I think it's a great looking movie. Uh, it's a really terrific movie about movies and just extraordinarily well accomplished. The Phoenician Scheme with Benicio del Toro. Wes Anderson does another amazing job creating this entire world, and I do hope it wins Best Comedy because it's probably the only movie I liked in the Best Comedy category, the Critics' Choice Awards. Um, Eden with Ron Howard is a movie that only you and I seem to like and have talked about this year, and I really, really liked it, and it's an honorable mention. A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. I tried so hard to squeeze this into my top 10. I tried so hard. I wanted to put this movie in my top 10 so bad, but I couldn't make it. Couldn't get there. Couldn't nudge any of the other movies out to make it in there. And also, kind of a surprise that I just isn't in my top 10, that I'm sure is in a lot of people's top 10, is One Battle After Another. Just missed my list as well. A really great movie from Paul Thomas Anderson, but I found 10 other movies that I just could not let go of, that I had to have in my top 10. And also Bugonia. I wanted that in my top 10. It was close. It was just right on the edge, and I had to edge it out because when you hear my number 10, you're going to realize just how difficult this list was to make when I tell you what my number 10 is. Let's start with your number 10.
My number 10 is actually a tie between the Phoenician Scheme. It was going to be the Phoenician Scheme and Good Boy, but Song Sung Blue was so emotional for me because I kind of identified with those, the couple trying to make it and then making it and having such bad shit happen to them while they're making it. That was now it's now tied for my number 10 with the Phoenician Scheme.
I respect. And I respect that.
I'm not a huge fan of Paul Thomas Anderson stuff all the time, but I love the performances in the Phoenician Scheme. So Wes Anderson, sorry. I'm
reasonable mistake everybody makes.
Everybody does that. I do it all the time. Wes Anderson is just kind of like, for me, it's very hit or miss, and mostly hit, but sometimes it's a little too twee for me. But the performances in this are what really got me. So that is my number 10 tie.
My number 10 is one of only two blockbusters on my list, and that is Weapons. Zach Cregger's movie with just an incredible cast, Josh Brolin and Julia Garner, and of course Amy Madigan, and just a performance that just stole much of the year as the one of the best iconic villains in horror movie history. I feel like we're far enough away that we can finally say that, and people can't question it because that character is still sticking around, I think, for just about everybody. I love this movie. I loved the experience of this movie. I think it's incredibly well put together. Zach Cregger just continues to get better and better. I'm eager to see what he can do next. I don't know where he's going to go next after what he's done with his first two movies. Where can you go from there? What can he do? I have no idea, but I'm interested to find out. Weapons was in like my top 3, top 5 for most of the year, so you can imagine the last few weeks that I've had have been quite something. And in getting ready for the Critics' Choice Awards and seeing a whole hell of a lot of movies, I finally just had to make a move, and Weapons had to go in at number 10.
Wow. I'm wondering now. Okay. Number 9, I struggled with this one because there's, any one of my honorable mentions could have taken the place of this one, but I felt like One Battle After Another for my number 9. It's in everybody else's like top 5 for the year, but there's a couple of performances in it that nudge it up into my top 10. And watching Sean Penn play the super racist guy who is secretly into black girls, which is something that like I run into on a pretty regular basis in the area here.
Yeah.
Um, whether it be like, anti-trans guys who are looking for trans women on Grinder, or the same thing as Sean Penn. It's the, that scene where they're on the road and he's chasing, that kind of elevates it for me. Not really uh my type of movie necessarily. Um, it's like this and Caught Stealing, or just something I both I enjoyed, but
Uh-huh.
that could possibly also have been on my honorable mentions, but it wasn't going to hit my top 10. But enjoyable nonetheless. So,
My number 9 is No Other Choice. Park Chan-wook directing here. A guy loses his job and needs to find another job in this economy where corporations are taking over the industry that he was in, and they're cutting costs and cutting quality. And he's trying to, he's being downsized in a way that he can't really see that he's treated so poorly that by the time you get to where this is going, murder doesn't seem that irrational in order to get what he wants. And it's truly just that's the satire here, is that this is what private equity firms and Wall Street and what they've done to companies, and what they're doing to regular everyday people. This is what they're doing. This is the cause and effect of what they do, is leading someone to the point where if I can kill just 3 people, I'll be the number one guy for this one last job that exists in this industry that I'm in. And the fact that he can pull that off with making these characters into villains or into horror movie characters, but to make you like feel deeply for them, it's a betrayal of your own like moral compass, which kind of reminded me a little bit of The Talented Mr. Ripley, where you kind of hope Matt Damon gets away at the end. It's kind of like that.
anti-hero.
Yeah, and the fact that it was able to do that, it just blew my mind. But on top of it, the artistry of it, the color, the cinematography it's just a gorgeous movie. It's incredibly well directed. These performances are superb. I mean, it's just darn near perfect. And it's just got this really strong edge where he never once in the movie has a character state that the state of the world economy is what's causing this, but that's literally everything that's happening in front of you if you're paying attention. And that really spoke to me in a very, very big way.
I had heard about it, but I have not seen it, so it couldn't have made my top 10. My number 8 is Bugonia. Um, just not knowing what to expect from this. It kind of, I liked that I was able to kind of figure it out a little bit along the way, with just the right clues at the right time. Um, the performances just blew everything away. From right around that time, I remember when we were talking about it and how Emma Stone is like somebody I liked her, but I never really, um, she wasn't somebody I was like, I want to see a movie with Emma Stone. But then I saw, Kinds of Kindness, another Yorgos Lanthimos movie, and she's just so good in that, and so like, and The Favorite and things. Those two together, just there's something about them. It's like they're each other's muse, and I really enjoyed that. Um, Jesse Plemons, of course, he doesn't miss. Um, he's so physically disgusting in this movie that like you could, like I said when we were reviewing it, you could almost smell the screen.
True.
that that he was that he just was so gross in the movie. Aiden Delbus, just the fact that he is an untrained actor and is on the spectrum and is playing somebody on the spectrum was just, I thought, so well done. And his death scene in the movie was so shocking that I don't know, just didn't even know what to think for the longest time after I saw the movie. It did go where I was hoping and where I thought it was going to go, and that was all. I think that's one of the reasons I loved it so much, is that it paid off as opposed to just kind of falling apart. So
Yeah, I mean it's spinning such a big tale that you're kind of going like, how could you possibly end this? And I think they found like the only way to do it, honestly.
yeah.
My
So
number 8 is another movie that most people haven't had a chance to see, but I have seen. It's called If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Between what Jessie Buckley has done this year, and Rose Byrne has done in this movie, we are just the most spoiled people on the planet that these actors work, and we can watch it. She plays a woman who is a caregiver to her child, who has some sort of unspecified illness that requires a great deal of care. She's also a working psychiatrist, so she has patients all day, and then she has a patient at night with her daughter. And then one day, the roof of their apartment caves in, and she's got to go live at this shitty motel that's because it's the only one that her apartment building is willing to pay for, and she's got to keep her sick daughter there, who has to be on a machine all night, while also trying to find just some way to keep her sanity. Her husband is played by Christian Slater, but you don't see him until basically the very end, because he's in the military and he's off on missions and whatnot. Conan O'Brien is in this movie, playing a fellow psychiatrist, playing Rose Byrne's psychiatrist, and the dynamic is brilliant because he's not an actor, but he's also not trying to be an actor. He's not trying to do more than you would expect from Conan O'Brien. He's very stern, but he's there's no shtick. Just the fact that he's so untrained, I think, kind of aids him in the fact that he's a very uncomfortable character, and he doesn't really, like, where we're watching a lot of stuff that is kind of very movie-ish. He's watching a real human being, and that kind of makes her even more real for us through his eyes in a weird way. Rose Byrne is just so incredible in this. She's just, you're watching this woman just go to pieces, and this otherwise very capable, very smart woman is just slowly unraveling, and it's like watching a slow motion car wreck for many times. She has her daughter in this hotel room. She's got a baby monitor that she's listening to it because she doesn't want to be in the room. She just wants just a moment of peace. And then she just starts wandering away, and you're like, where the fuck are you going? And it's just so exciting to watch. It's so very, very, very good. And I hope more people get a chance to see If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, because this is one of the true A24 movies of the year.
yeah, another one I didn't get to see. Oh. Okay, so my number 7 is a tie because there are movies, and I'm not gonna. We talked last weekend about Megan 2.0 and having the absolute best comedic scene of any movie this year with this woman's work.
Yeah.
And I could not leave that off my top 10 because of that moment. And I rewatched it again a couple nights ago, and I'm like, you know what? I know it didn't get the play, but just that the scene with this woman's work, and then when Allison Williams has Megan in her, and her physicality is just. So I did a tie for number 7. And I know it makes it more than a top 10, whatever. Megan 2.0 and Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Nice.
Kiss of the Spider Woman, we talked in depth about how J-Lo is not a singer, she's not an actor, she's a performer, and she performs the fuck out of this movie. As well as, everybody in the cast is just so good that you don't really realize that it's, like it's a musical. You can just see it in the way that, Timothee sees it as just this fantasy, that if he got his way, would be his entire life. And Diego Luna playing Molina, and that the chemistry that they have is the best of the year. I mean, they just together they just have this presence. Um, and the fact that you see Jennifer Lopez doing what she does best, performing, kind of makes it, it kind of solidifies Bill Condon as the person who should really just do almost every musical that comes out in Hollywood from now on. So
Absolutely. Yeah, he's incredible. And wow, yeah, such a great movie. Number 7 for me is Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, Jeremy Allen White, directed by Scott Cooper. I'm a huge Springsteen fan and had a little skepticism, a little bit about Jeremy Allen White, because I don't think he looks very much like Bruce, but in the fact it just didn't matter. The emotional truth of the way that they captured Springsteen's music, his art, and that particular moment in his life is just, it just works. It just works perfectly. He captures so much of that, the emotional truth of Springsteen, that it didn't, even if half of it was a lie, it didn't matter to me because it was so emotional and well made and just beautiful to watch. Nebraska is an amazing album, and what a great idea to center a movie around that. It's one I never would have thought of, and that just makes me love it just that much more. I think it's extraordinarily directed. It's great looking. Jeremy Allen White, I think, is delivering an Oscar caliber performance as Bruce Springsteen. People have called this one kind of a failure because the cost was $55 million and it only made $45 million. That doesn't matter to me. I couldn't care less. I just note that because, again, y'all listeners didn't go see any good movies this year. The best movies didn't make any money. Guys, what are you doing to us here? You got to watch this. This movie's incredible, and it's my number 7.
Yeah, I thought that was fair. I thought it was very good. It didn't rise above for me, but I thought Jeremy Allen White, sometimes I know I've called him ugly hot on the show, but sometimes he's really hard to watch act, like the bear. Sometimes he's like magnetic repulsive, and that's kind of how I was watching this. But it was very good, and the scene that really like solidified me actually liking the movie, and I am a Springsteen fan, was the scene where they were recording Born in the USA.
Yeah, that was so
that
great.
That was one of the best scenes of any movie of the year. So
amen to that.
My number 6, are you ready for this one? I don't know. I don't know. Silent Night, Deadly Night, the remake. I had so much fun at this movie. Yeah. This was my best theater experience of the year. The very like gonzo kind of way they just went for it and said, you know what? Fuck your expectations. We're not like doing a slavish remake. We are going to do our own thing within the confines of this outline of the story. Rowan Campbell, I say what you will about Halloween Ends. I don't think he ruined that movie. I think it was David Gordon Green. And Ruby Modine. Their chemistry is like some of the best chemistry all year. And it was just fun. It was so much fun to see this, this movie that I love. And, we did the Patreon episode for last week for Christmas, to see a movie that I just love for the right campy reasons, to see that like made even campier and, like, I guess woke is what somebody called it that saw it. They told me it was too woke for them. And I was just like, because they killed Nazis? Is that too woke? Are you a Nazi?
Maybe we shouldn't be friends.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know if I should be talking to you.
That movie was woke. He was like Dexter. He killed the bad guys. And if you don't think Nazis are bad guys, just it was so much fun. I've recommended it to literally all my horror friends. I, I gushed about it to one of my coworkers who is a huge fan of the original. She just loves it. I'm like, you have to see it. I know it's not going to be in the theaters for more than a week, but when it comes out to watch, you just have to watch it if you love the original. The refreshing original take that they did on why he's the killer as opposed to just building it up was just perfect. And again, so much fun. I can't wait to own this movie so I can watch it every Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, as a show that we tend to dislike remakes. We had two of them this year. We had this one, and we had Toxic Avenger that were both that took essentially bad movies, like campy fun but still bad movies, and turn them into really, really good movies.
Yeah,
that's really how you should do a remake. It's not, don't remake like Casablanca. Remake something that was awful the first time but had some ideas.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what these two movies were. And yeah, I really love both of them. Neither, of course, in my top 10, but I do have a great appreciation for both of those movies.
Power.
My number 6 is Die My Love. Lynn Ramsey directing Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson in just one incredibly daring, bold, unique, and brilliant film. It's filled with so much life and so much emotion, and just this character that feels so real for even being played by a superstar like Jennifer Lawrence. She finds the truth of this character, the reality of this character, the pain and heart of this character. She is on this just inexorable path. You just know that this is winding towards something terrible, and you can't do anything about it, but you also can't take your eyes off of it because it's so engrossing. Lynn Ramsey is one of the most daring and bold directors. She takes big risks and every time she goes out there, and she just nails it just every time. The look is spectacular. Those gorgeous daylight scenes, those beautiful blue nights. I mean, just breathtaking what she was able to do. The fact that this is only number 6 on my list has to tell you even more what an amazing year. This was a great year for movies, because in any other year, Die My Love would probably be a number 1, and I had to fight myself over what would be in my top 5.
Oh, the fact that it didn't even make my top 5 or top 10. We talked about this on the show. I didn't really connect with it as much as you did. It was, for me, while I love Jennifer Lawrence, the character was just so much. And I've dealt with people like that in real life several times. And it was just so like, it's not something I will ever revisit because it's just too like close to reality for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I respect I know that you loved it when we talked about it, and it is a good movie. It is really well done. And Jennifer Lawrence is, that she's attractive as a human being, just in general. And the fact that, that comes through personality wise in this movie. I can't say I hated the movie. It was just a little too close to home for me. So mine you're ready for my top 5, aren't you?
Yes. You're number 5.
Number 5. I told you, a few weeks ago when we started talking about doing our top 10s that I could probably make a top 10 out of horror movies alone this year, because we've eaten so well at the horror banquet that my top 5 is almost all, horror movies. Number 5 is Bring Her Back.
What a great movie.
That it was so disturbing and so scary because, you see Sally Hawkins in it and she's just knucking futz. And it's one that when I saw it, I was just telling everybody, you have to see it. It's if you liked Talk to Me at all, I think it's even better than that. I think the Philippou brothers are just incredible directors. They love horror and it shows. They are also supremely fucked up because this movie was supremely fucked up. Um, the brother and sister dynamic in it is real and so well done that I couldn't believe that they weren't really related. Um, and when as you uncover kind of the mystery behind why Sally Hawkins even wants to take these two in, it her nefarious intentions are really scary. It's like because she's not going to take no for an answer, and she's going to do whatever she has to do to bring her back. So yeah, so good.
That knife biting. I mean, just that scene
Oh
is
yeah.
just so incredible and impossible to watch at the same time.
Uh-huh.
It's an honorable mention for me. I do very much love that movie, but again, this is one of the best years ever for movies. So
Mhm.
please excuse me for not having Bring Her Back on my list. Um, my number 5 is another movie that no one went to see but me. It's called Bob Trevino Likes It, and it stars John Leguizamo as a man who and Barbara Ferreira. Barbara Ferreira is a young girl who's had a very strange relationship with her father, who's played by French Stewart. They've just had a very very strange, unusual relationship. He's a very unreliable person, but she's also just somebody who would like to have her father. He happens to have the same name, Bob Trevino, as John Leguizamo. And when she goes looking for her dad's secret Facebook page, she comes across this guy, Bob Trevino, who John Leguizamo, and befriends him. He starts liking all of her statuses like a boomer would, uh, and they begin to share messages. But it's not weird or creepy. He's just a really really nice guy who's like just the perfect version, essentially, of the kind of dad this young girl could really use. They develop this wonderful friendship that is incredibly moving, building toward an ending that it just blew my mind with how emotional it was. I think John Leguizamo has never been better in his entire career. This movie is just so insanely moving. I got so emotional watching it, and yeah, just one of the best experiences watching a movie. Just watching two human beings connect with each other on such an emotional level. It moved me endlessly, and I just can't get enough of it. I've watched it at least 3 times now, and I want to watch it again right now. That's how much I love Bob Trevino Likes It. It's so warm and so loving, and with two of the best characters you could find in a movie this year.
Hmm. Yeah, you've spoken of it before. I still have not gotten a chance to watch it. I really should, shouldn't I?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I will. I will. So my number 4 and my number 3 are they're interchangeable for me. Number 4, I'm gonna say number 4 is The Life of Chuck.
Wow. Okay.
Um, well, I know it's higher for you, but um, just the performances alone of all 3 actors playing Chuck were just so well done. Tom Hiddleston, who I don't really care all that much about, his dance sequence in this movie was just adorable.
Scene of the year. It's the scene of the year, honestly.
Yeah. Um, and having read the short story that this is based on, it perfectly, I mean, and it's Mike Flanagan and Stephen King, perfectly encapsulates the story. Um, that scene is exactly how I pictured it in the book. Just perfectly done. And the fact that like Chiwetel Ejiofor in any other movie would be the star,
Yeah.
and he is technically the star, but Tom Hiddleston as Chuck kind of takes everything from everybody. Um, it was good to see Mark Hamill and Mia Sara. Um, it just such a stacked cast, even in like the smallest parts.
Uh-huh.
David Desmalchian he's in a tiny part. Matthew Lillard is in a tiny part, but their performances really kind of leapt off the screen. Um, Violet McGraw, just her one little scene, she's just like so realistic. I really dug this. It was, it was like in my top three up until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it is interchangeable with my number three at this point, I think. But
all right,
we will get to that in a minute.
My number four is the other blockbuster on my list, and a movie that was very close to being number one, but ended up at number four, Sinners, with Michael B. Jordan and directed by Ryan Coogler. This is big time filmmaking. This is Ryan Coogler doing basically what only like Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve have done before. That's just creating blockbuster after blockbuster, but doing so in a way that it's still art, that it still matters, that the telling the story still matters. He's working in the horror genre, which doesn't get the respect that it deserves, and he's still making something that matters to him and has weight to it because he is such a great director. Michael B. Jordan playing two different characters, twin brothers in this movie, and they're distinctive. You can tell them apart. You can see the aspects of the personality that he gave to both of them, and that is just like that's an impossible feat as an actor. The way he pulled that off is incredible, and the seamlessness of it when he's on screen with himself just blows your mind while you're watching it. You just cannot believe it's that level of good. But that's Sinners from beginning to end. The music, I mean, there's one scene in this movie where it just blends through all these musical genres and brings them all together in this one room through time. Music traveling through time is kind of as just this brilliantly, beautifully expressed idea in this film, and just the fact that Ryan Coogler pulls it off without losing anything of his plot momentum or the horror film aspect of it just tells you just how incredibly brilliant this movie is. Wunmi Osako deserves an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. So if she doesn't get it, I'm going to be very. She doesn't get nominated, I'm going to be very upset. That would be like the biggest possible ripoff this year, is if she's ignored, because she is the big beating heart of this movie. I could say almost the same for Miles Caton, who plays the young guitarist, who is kind of the Robert Johnson of the story. I mean, everybody in this movie. Delroy Lindo is incredible in this movie. Just he gets a couple of really great scenes, and the way he's able to incorporate these actors getting these incredible scenes, and that don't take away anything else from the momentum of the plot or from the building horror. That just tells you what a great director Ryan Coogler is. The way he's able to manage a movie this big with this many moving parts is just extraordinary.
Yeah, I'll get to the we'll just put it that way. We'll put a pin in that one. My number three is Hamnet. And I struggled with this one a little bit because it was not something I normally love this much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very small story, but the performances in it, just Jessie Buckley is one of the best actors working today. And playing an outcast like she does it's not she's very good at that. And it's not like she hasn't kind of done that a little bit before, especially in like the movie Men. But here she's even the outcast when she's the object of love. You know what I mean? And that's where for me, it kind of makes her performance all that more special, is that she's wanted and desired by William Shakespeare. And even though he's a notorious cad, she's still, even when he expresses his love for her and does it in unique ways and whatever, she still has such a hard time letting herself go.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's been ostracized by everyone for being a witch, for so long that she can't let herself be loved, and she's always on the defensive. And I really, really liked that in what is ostensibly um, a multi-generational love story between, Shakespeare and her and their children and the the family that surrounds them and tells them how they are doomed.
Mm.
So yeah, I that is why I I didn't even think about it like jumping into my top 10 until, it wasn't something I was necessarily interested in. And then we watched it for the show, and the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, well, this is definitely in my top 10. And then the more I thought about it was, okay, it's a top 5, maybe a top 3 for me. So
I'll talk about it more in a little bit.
I figured
the rest of my top after this one. I think this one, I don't necessarily think anyone would have predicted this one. My number 3 is Kiss of the Spider Woman. I was shocked by this movie. I was shocked by how resonant it was for me. The conversation you and I had about it was exciting. It's one of the best shows we've done this year. Was talking about that movie, and ever since then, it's just been this. It's been this thing in the back of my mind, just never letting go, never wanting me to forget it. It kept popping up. I kept seeing reminders of it everywhere for some reason. I guess I searched it once on Twitter, and then I got like an entire feed of it for some reason. Just 'cause I looked it up one time, but I'm thinking that's just the universe telling me how much, just reminding me how amazing this movie is. Did you know this movie cost $30 million and only made $3 million at the box office? It's one of the biggest bombs of the year, which also just makes me love it that much more because it's just so brilliant and incredible, and it totally didn't deserve that. But at the very least, it gets to belong to me then, if nobody else wants it. Bill Condon hadn't made a really good movie since Dreamgirls, which is that's nearly 20 years, I would say. A long time ago. He's even directed a Twilight movie for some reason. Like, he's just been wandering in the woods for so long that I had no reason to believe. I walked into it. I think I saw it the same day we did the show on it, and I was like, I just kept putting it off. I'm like, this isn't going to be like, because I think the 85 with the William Hurt and Raul Julia is just incredible. It's an incredible movie. How are they going to make that into a fucking musical? Like, that's bizarre. And who's this Timothee? I have no idea who Timothee is. And then I was just bowled over by it. It just, all of the gorgeous imagery just washes over you. The music is incredible. It just elevates the whole thing in just the most beautiful ways, and just the boldness and the bravery of the portrayal of the love story between Diego Luna and Tonatiuh. There was a kind of a sheepishness about it between William Hurt and Raul Julia, and there's still that here to a point, but they go even further and finally just have them truly accept who they are, and it's a step that the first movie kind of needed, which I didn't even realize just how much it needed it. I was just blown away by that. The meaning of the Spider Woman, and of course Jennifer Lopez just stepping up so big. She's had such a terrible couple of years as an actor, where she's really allowed herself to look very, very bad on screen, and to see her, to see her use her talents this way, because people think, oh, she's a pop star, of course she can get on stage. And it's not that simple. It's really not. These are two very different skill sets. Musical theater and pop music are two incredibly different skill sets, and one I didn't feel like she was ever going to have, and she absolutely has it. She absolutely nailed it. You can see, if you want, she's not doing the most acting, but you can see the most work, the hard, the level of work that she put into it. I think the sweat equity is there on screen in just how much she worked on this, and her dedication to telling this story, and to not even being like the star of the movie. She is there to elevate Diego Luna and Tonatiuh's story, and for her to be so capable of elevating their story through her story. Beautiful, beautiful piece of acting.
Yeah.
I think Diego Luna may even have the hardest role because he doesn't have the flashiness. He doesn't have anything showy. He gets to dance, he gets to sing, but but the other two are two very big characters who are very much more central to the story. But he is such a great foundation for them. He provides this sturdy level of professionalism that allows them to be able to elevate, and they couldn't do it without him. He's absolutely essential to what they do. They're so good because he is able to help them be so good. I think he gives them both, because Tonatiuh is a first-time actor, and obviously Jennifer Lopez, this is not what you expect of her. So I think they draw so much confidence from him that they became as good as they are in this movie. And it's, like I said, it's a movie that just never left me after I saw it. And whereas I love One Battle After Another, I think it's one of the great movies of the year. I think PTA is amazing. That movie, I kept having to remind myself how much I like it. I never had to pause for a second to remind myself how much I love Kiss of the Spider Woman. It just always was there.
And it's funny because I remember I saw it the morning that we recorded because I thought you'd already seen it, and you were like, I don't think I'm going to get to it. And I was like, no, you have to see this movie. It is so good. And you were kind of sounded skeptical in our chat. And I was like, just go see it. And then you saw it late that afternoon too. And I was just like, oh, I hope he likes it. And then when you came on gushing about it, I was like, yes. So, yeah. Well, my number 2 and my number 1, totally interchangeable. Again, I had, it's like years past where I've just had such a hard time with my favorite, because my favorite movies are always like my favorites for different reasons. I'm gonna say my number 2 is Weapons. It is such a smart movie, and the creepiness factor of it is so it's just so high tension, kind of what the fuck is happening here. The performances, again, Julia Garner, well, that's one of the reasons that Wolfman was one of my least liked movies this year, is because of the fact that I love Julia Garner. I think she's pretty amazing in everything. And I told you last week, I thought of her when I was reading The Housemaid. So, the fact that she just owns this movie, but then has it snatched out of her hands by Amy Madigan as Aunt Gladys, in, I think, the performance of the year. I really do. I really believe that. She's a horror icon now. The gays love her, God bless them, because she's that over the top kind of villain that you get Pearl, you get that kind of Annie and Hereditary, that just are iconic and really speak to people. And Amy Madigan has that in spades in this movie. She's so over the top, and that look, the jump scares that she's part of, like all the characters are just like, what the fuck, when they're talking to her, when they see her. And her end scene is one of my favorite pieces of film from the year, with the kids crashing through windows, and just the camera moves, just really, I think Zach Cregger is so talented. And I really loved Barbarian, but this is just on a whole other level. This is a movie I went into blind. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know who was in it. And when I went to see it and realized just how arresting the story is, it's the only movie that I've seen twice in the theater this year. because based on the show, we didn't have that. I didn't have that opportunity a lot to go see a movie just for pleasure. And I saw this twice in the theater and then once at home. And I noticed stuff each time. I just, I absolutely loved it. And it could have been my number one. So,
I get that. And the thing about when it comes to Amy Madigan, it's such a risky performance. There's such a, again, reminiscent of one of the movies we talked about before. It could tip over into parody. It could be a movie that she could be unintentionally comic, like late period Freddy. Like that could be funny.
Yeah.
The fact that he manages to turn this, comically dressed elderly woman into this menacing figure as a testament to Amy Madigan's performance and to Zach Cregger's brilliant direction. Because as scary as she is out of the makeup, she's just as scary in it, and she's like a fucking corpse out of it. So I mean, like, it's pretty remarkable. And the menacing way that she's both introduced and then portrayed in the various scenes she appears outside of the house, just mind blowing. Just mind blowing. It just kind of takes your breath away watching how great she is.
Well, you think that, in the scene with Benedict Wong in the principal's office, you think she's just this wacky, kind of comic relief character. But then when she comes to his house later and he realizes, that what he is, and that scene is played for laughs at the beginning of it with him and his husband and how they're just kind of nerdy watching HGTV with their dozen hot dogs. That's played for laughs. So you kind of expect when she shows up that it's going to be another comic. This is kind of going into farce at this point. And then she just snaps that twig and she is so deadly serious that it's just like, oh shit. You're right there with them because they're like, oh my God, lady, you're so fucking weird. Get out of our house. I think it's time for you to leave. And then she turns around and is just deadly serious. And then, he just, when he snaps and that twig snaps and he snaps, and then she just kind of, okay, well, that's done. I got that done. So, yeah, just amazing performances.
Yeah.
So,
the rest of mine is obviously pretty obvious, I'm sure by now. Hamnet is my number 2, directed by Chloe Zhao and starring, of course, Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. Jessie Buckley delivering, I think, the best performance we've seen from an actor in a long time. She owns this movie. She's just filled with just multitudes. She just has so many layers to this performance, this desire for love, this defensiveness, this incredible wit, just the coping that she does through incredibly difficult times, and letting herself fall in love and then be guarded about falling in love and then having these children and seeing the future as she does. I mean, there's that moment when she's told she's not going to be allowed to go into the forest to have her baby. You're like, no, don't do this. Don't do this. Like, you're talking to the screen. It's that, like, you're that invested in that moment. And then those little kids, that little boy, just, I don't know. I haven't cried that much in a theater since Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, it's just so beautiful. The innocence of a child. It speaks to it without it speaks beyond this being a period piece. Like, that just tells you who children are, just on a base level. Children are just generally good, and it's us who ruin them, who make them into us. Because deep down inside, this is who all children want to be, is somebody who loves and is loved in return and cares so deeply about people. That is in this movie is just remarkable. And that closing sequence in Hamlet, when she's actually seeing the play and seeing what her husband created for them, Jessie Buckley's, I've never seen anybody be that good in a reaction shot. Like,
right.
It's so incredible. She's not even saying anything, and you just can't take your eyes off of her. She's communicating everything with her body language and her eyes. Oh, just gorgeous. What a great, great fucking movie.
Yeah, very much so. Well, my number one, I think you have figured out, and it is. I changed my mind, and Megan 2.0 is now my favorite. The Monkey. No, I'm just kidding. Although The Monkey was really good. Sinners is my number one, for all the reasons you said too. For me, if I don't connect with the performance, then I don't care all that much. And the performances by Michael B. Jordan, just especially when Masako and Haley Steinfeld. I mean, she's just she's always good. She went from that kind of you done me wrong to I'm gonna do you wrong like at the drop of a hat. Miles Caton, he was just, for a first time actor, I believed everything he did, everything he said. Jack O'Connell was he just that just let me kill you and everything will be great. Everything you said about it, it's so on point. Ryan Coogler, I don't care what he does. I'll watch it. I don't care if he remakes like Psycho shot for shot like Gus Van Sant did with an all black cast. I will watch it. He could do anything at this point and I would be interested in it, because based on what he's done for, a story I never knew about, Black Panther, that was not anything I really thought about. Fruitvale Station was amazing. He's one of the best directors out there, and I'm glad to see that he's getting his props for it. If I hadn't seen the trailer for this, I think it would, the vampire aspect of it would have just hit so much harder. But the fact that they gave so much away in the trailer, it didn't take away my enjoyment of the film, because obviously it's like my number 1/2/1 again. But that if I'd had the surprise of going into it the way I did with Weapons, if I hadn't seen that trailer 500 goddamn times before every movie, I think that it would have been even better in my mind than it was. Just so interesting and so much fun, which seems weird because you're invested in them getting this juke joint up and running through the first half of the movie. You're just like, oh, look at him, he's talking to the right people and he's just so smooth. And as both brothers, he does something completely different. They're two completely different characters, even though they're identical twins. One of my favorite little scenes was him outside the store, and he has the girl watch the truck for him.
Mm-hmm.
That was, then he's just, you see how he is going to take care of business when she lets them rip him off.
Yeah.
You see just exactly how dangerous he can be. And that kind of sets up his whole character arc right there. So yeah, just such a good movie. Definitely my number 1/2. Bad Weapons. I've literally since I saw Weapons, after I saw this, I've gone back and forth. Like, I don't know which to pick for my number one. But I'm picking Sinners. So yeah,
I get that. Like great fucking movie. This is a great year. I mean, just what we've talked about has been just incredible. I mean, I'm sure there's people thinking of movies that we haven't talked about that we also love this year, like, because it's been such an amazing year for movies. They're truly like the bad movies that we talked about at the top of the show are the great minority. There really weren't that many terrible, truly outright terrible movies.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of really incredible ones. The Life of Chuck obviously is my number one. It's been my number one since I saw it, and it really hasn't been matched. Hamnet comes close, but I didn't have to
Yeah.
think too hard about which one I was going to make number one. Um, there's everything about this movie just resonated with me. It felt while watching it like this was a movie that was made for me. Like, I don't know why. It touched me on that level. It spoke to me in a way that few movies have ever spoken to me. Um, I've always had this idea in my head that I've never quite been able to bring to words, and the idea is brought beautifully to life in this, and that we're all just sort of the pieces of other people that we've picked up over the years. Everyone we meet, every experience we've had is a piece of a puzzle that makes up who we are, and that's kind of a sappy notion, perhaps, or. But I think this movie does it in such an artful way that it doesn't feel that way when you're watching it. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels like it's occurring to you for the first time. It's a light bulb moment when you're watching
Yeah.
this movie, just how that comes about, and you're watching these just brilliant actors just bring to life this story. I mean, I was just watching it again yesterday because of course I was, um, and just what Mia Sarah teaching little Tom Hiddleston how to dance for the first time,
Oh
and
yeah.
how he's unable to really kind of state exactly what it is that inspired him to dance that day, but we come to learn exactly why that was, um, and it risks being kind of scary because we are talking about for the first half of the movie we're talking about the apocalypse, we're talking about the end of the world in a
Yeah.
way that is very realistic and very believable. Could be kind of, I honestly triggering for some, I imagine. Very understandable in that, but it does it in such a beautiful, realistic way through the characters of Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan that I was just intensely moved by that, and just the boldness to then move into an entirely different story that has been the impotence of that story the whole time. The seeing that for the first time just kind of blew my mind, just how well that was done. The transition from one story to the next. Tom Hiddleston's amazing in this, and I mean, it doesn't even feel like he's the star most of the time, but he's absolutely holding the whole thing together. He is the center of it, and the comedic beats, like the thank you Chuck throughout the first half of the movie. Just it keeps popping up in the funniest places, and everybody's just kind of puzzled by it, and
Uh-huh.
you're puzzled by it, but it's so charming in how you're puzzled by it until it finally hits you exactly why it's popping up everywhere, and then you're a mess. I was an emotional mess, just finally coming to that realization. I've not had quite many experiences like this. I think it's right up there with Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's just there's these kind of movies they're more than movies to me. They're experiences. They're part of me. They're part of who I am now. Those movies, the experiences I've had with them, inform who I am as a person, and I can't say that about very many movies.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, this was so well done and so honored such a good like short story. Um yeah, it was, probably if Hamnet hadn't come out, probably would have, been stayed my number 3. So, yeah.
All right, well, Jeff, you want to run through your top 10 one last time?
Yeah, sure. Number 10, I had uh The Phoenician Scheme, tied with Song Sung Blue after seeing that today. Number 9 was One Battle After Another. Number 8 was Bugonia. Number 7 was Kiss of the Spider Woman. Number 6, well, tied with Megan 2.0 because, well, that this woman's work scene. Um, Number 6 was Silent Night, Deadly Night, the remake. Number 5 was Bring Her Back. Number 4 was The Life of Chuck. Number 3 was Hamnet. Number 2 was Weapons, and number 1 was Sinners.
My number 10 was Weapons. My number 9, No Other Choice. Number 8, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Number 7, Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere. My number, excuse me, my number 6 was Die My Love. Number 5, Bob Trevino Likes It, which again, somebody please go watch that movie. Anyone? My number 4 was Sinners. My number 3 was Kiss of the Spider Woman. My number 2 was Hamnet, and Life of Chuck is my number 1. We'll be back with our regular show next week, the new year, Jeff.
Yeah, what do we got next week? Do you know?
We Bury the Dead with, I think it's Daisy Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only big new movie that's opening. There might be one of the Oscar movies might also move into release. I'm not sure, but that's the one I know for sure.
Okay. Well, I look forward to talking about that. We'll pick a classic and get on that one too. So,
all right, find us on Facebook and Twitter and Blue Sky and all that stuff. And thank you for tuning in for 2025, and we'll be back in 2026. Thanks, Jeff.
Happy New Year.
Hey, Jeff. Well, you said you're